Subscribe to our channel.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Analyst Desk. If you haven't yet,
subscribe to our channel.
Plugging it before you even have a chance to unplug it. We don't pull the plug here at the desk. But of course, I'm joined by the amazing company of the man who no longer has many names. I've accepted the fact that he is Adam. It is Adam the Goat.
Finally.
And
took you long enough.
The one, the only, everybody's favorite William Nylander fan, Mr. More for your money.
Woo! Hello, everyone. What's that?
Welcome, everybody.
Oh,
to
Jacob's back. You know, Jacob's
Desk.
back when all the random sounds are going
I
on.
love the random sounds.
That's when you know Jacob's back running the show.
Back again. But we have another action-packed show today because we have the Leafs versus the Ottawa Senators, the Battle of Ontario.
Ooh.
And this is a very different Battle of Ontario than what it's been the last few years because, you know, the last few years it was Toronto who was looking to be like the top dog, while Ottawa was kind of on that weird bubble position. And now Toronto's in that weird bubble position where Ottawa is ahead of them in the standings.
Not by much.
What? How? It's like 2 points.
1 point.
1
It's still
point.
ahead.
Sorry.
It's
Now,
still ahead.
Ottawa's
Yeah, they're
got
ahead,
one
Jacob,
game
but
to
it's like they're both in the same situation.
Yeah,
The same
literally.
situation they're
It's
in.
still
Like
to me-
they're ahead of them in the standings, but it's not the same situation. But like standings, like Ottawa, like let's be honest. Ottawa shouldn't be regressing at this point with how their team is built, the age of their team. They should not be going backwards. They should be going forwards. The Leafs is an older team, so like it's fair. I guess you could say that there's a little bit there's regression because this is an older team, especially the defense, where I think basically almost everybody on the defensive course over 30, something like that. And it's like you got to expect regression because of the age. But like Ottawa is a young team. Ottawa should not be regressing. They've had issues, but that's issues out of their control for the most part. Like Brady Tkachuk being injured, that's just unfortunate for them to start the year. But like everything else, like that Linus Allmark situation, that was out of their control. That was something that he was personally dealing with himself. So that's a situation that they just had to deal with because it was nothing that the organization could do. But at the end of the day, Ottawa are in a situation where they shouldn't be going backwards like this. And I'm being honest, I think, well, no, I shouldn't say that actually, because I don't think the Leafs are in a good position anyways. But Ottawa, Ottawa should be like Montreal, not exactly where Montreal are, but like they should be taking a step foot forward like Montreal are. Montreal are looking like a better team. The reason they're getting the points, the way they're getting the points is actually pretty impressive given their goaltending. But Ottawa shouldn't be where Ottawa is. At this point, Ottawa shouldn't be. Nor should Florida, to be fair. But of course, Florida are
Well,
old teams
Florida's
as
a
well,
little
so
different though, because I mean, they've at least
they're old as
won a
well.
couple Stanley Cups. They've eventually the team was just going to run out of gas. But
I actually didn't realize Bobrovsky was out of contract this summer.
He is.
I didn't know that. I did not know that
Which
until like
trade
2
deadline
days
will be
ago.
very interesting to see if he gets dealt, because I think there will be some teams, even though he's having an off season, that will pay him an obscene amount of money to make sure he's in their lineup. But
nowhere near the money he's getting right now. But
no. But I mean, there will be a team that will pay a lot.
Decent amount. Yeah.
I wanted to share with you guys something very important. Have you ever missed an episode of the Analyst Desk and felt really upset?
I'm just here. I live in the.
You felt like this man. It's okay.
Stuck here
because you're here now at the Analyst Desk.
Am I?
But when you missed an episode, I get it. You become a terrifying crying bear. I'm looking at you, Dan.
Yeah, literally.
Dan especially.
This bear's over his face because he is the crying bear and he misses an episode.
Yeah.
That's Dan especially.
But I want to break down the Leafs lines
going.
I want to break down the Leafs lines going into tonight's matchup, and there are some changes.
I would have put Joshua, Waugh, McMahon back together, but that's personally just me. Of course, I would have rather put those three back together because they were so good together before the injuries, and such, and they were taken apart again. I like the top two lines. I don't like Domi up there, but I don't know who else they put up there.
Well, I'm of the opinion by the way management's talking and everything, the season's a write-off. Why isn't Easton Cowan getting top line minutes? Like, if the season's done, let's see what Easton Cowan can do. And I don't like Nick Robertson on the fourth. I don't like Nick Robertson on the fourth line. I don't like Lorentz being benched. I don't really particularly like what they've done with these lines whatsoever. I am the crying.
They haven't sold yet.
When I see
Sorry, Jacob, but I'm just saying, like, because they haven't sold anybody yet, I don't think they want to, like, once everybody, if they do sell at the deadline, which I'm pretty sure is going to be the plan at this point, Cowan will get top line minutes. But until they've sold the players that they need to sell, why not just keep putting Domi up there and seeing if he can up his trade value anymore, I guess. That'd be the thinking. Demoting Domi won't do his trade value any good at this point. If he's one of the players that will get traded, let's say. But, like, and then Cowan will get more minutes. But, like, you need to clear out the other players that if they do end up selling, which I don't know how much confidence I have that they're even going to get sold at the deadline, to be honest, at this point.
I think there's some players that still hold a lot of value on this team. Like, you're hearing rumors about OEL
I just don't have confidence.
First round.
I don't have confidence that that management will get the trades done. It's not about it that players could get. I heard from our good friend Lane Dashko that OEL doesn't want to leave. So OEL, I don't know what's going to happen there. He has I think
a 16-team no trade.
Yeah.
So you can still move them.
Which will be interesting. Honestly, if a good trade isn't there for Oriel, I don't mind keeping him. You just won't get more from him than what you could get now in the offseason when the season's done, of course. You won't be able to, like, this value won't go much higher. And I don't think it will drop too low once the offseason hits. I don't think it will be too drastic of a drop, but like, you don't want to wait until next season to trade him. That's the thing.
But Dan, I'm curious.
Trade him now would be the time.
But Dan, I'm curious your thoughts on those projected lines for Toronto for tonight. What do you?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts here?
Terrible. I think this is why Blue Bay's going to lose his job for this offseason. He keeps messing with lines and don't stick it together. You look at for the legendary lineups from before, even that 03-04 team, you knew right away the top line was going to be Roberts, McGillney, Sundin. You knew the second line was going to be Ronnie Francis, Darcy Tucker, and Owen Nolan. You knew the third line was going to be Joe Newdike, Nikolai Antipov, Leslie Ponikoski. And you knew the fourth line was going to be, whoever was left over at the time. I think it was Stajan, Klingberg, and Kilger. Sorry, Stajan, Kilger, and Domi. You know, you knew right away, boom, those were your lineups. And I will say, Blue Bay's very good at keeping his defense core pretty much the same. But I think your forwards need that chemistry too. You look at like classic duos, like when Crosby all through his career either had Marion Hossa, Phil Kessel, Chris Letang, or James Neal. He always had that winger he played with every single night. You knew where he was going to be. Why is Marner, I hate to say it, but why is Marner playing so well in Vegas past a little while? Because he knows his teammates, Eichel and Stone, every single night. Boom, those are his line mates. And I think this is the biggest fault of Craig Berube. I understand put things in the blender sometimes there if you're in a slump, but to do it every single game makes no sense. No one knows. That's why you get too many men in the ice penalties, because no one knows who's playing with who. And I think
Marner plays with Eichel. I didn't know Marner played with Eichel. I knew he played with Stone, but
maybe he plays with Hurdle. I don't know. But my point is,
I don't know.
He plays with a top center every single game, right? I don't know why Steven Lorentz is benched tonight. I think Steven Lorentz is one of the few play spots of his team that brings consistent effort and great energy night in, night out, regardless if you're winning 10-0 or losing 10-0. And that's the type of guy I wouldn't want scratched.
I just looked up what lines have spent the most time together for the Leafs this season. And it's pretty funny. So we got Domi, Matthews, McMahon is top right now. They have spent 239 game minutes together. Nyes, Tavares, Michelli is the next one at 171.5. You wouldn't expect Tavares in the next one, right? You wouldn't expect that because that would be crazy to have him in another line again. It's Michelli, Tavares, Nylander, 161. So pretty similar minutes. I don't know why that would be. And then Nyes, Matthews, Domi at 153. Interesting. And then Lawton, Lorentz, Yarncroc at 149. Robertson, Cowan at 111.1. But it's like, why is Tavares spending over 160 minutes with two separate lines? Like two different line combinations. Like it's just like, and there's so many like different lines we spent more than 20 minutes together. And it's just like these guys, they're great. Like I get it, I guess, switching lines sometimes, but the amount of times the lines have flipped this season is beyond frustrating. Like,
when I think too, it's really been
teams don't need to do this,
and it's been one of the biggest issues for Berube. And if Lane sent it to us in our group chat, but we're not like Team USA's group chat. And it was someone talking about how they felt Berube was really hidden by the strong goaltending last year. And I think it really shows. Like the goaltending this year has just been okay. And this team's terrible. And I think it's been the biggest thing. It is Joseph Woll getting the start tonight, which I think is the right decision. I do think between Woll and Stolarz, Woll has been consistently better than Stolarz this year. And look, this is where I think you're definitely, if you're Toronto, you're in the must-win categories. You have to win, especially since you started the first 2 out of 6 with losses. I argue that all your games up until deadline, they're must win. You lose any of these games, you're selling at the deadline. And it's one of those things that's frustrating, but I think you need to accept it if you're the Leafs so you can actually figure out what to do. But I do want to take a look at the Ottawa Senators lines tonight as well. And looking at their forward group, this is an interesting group here. Like, I mean, I really like that top line that Ottawa has of Batherson, Stützle, and Giroux. And then you got Kachuk, Cousins, Greg, which I know really Greg is a name that Leaf fans hate hearing. Cousins, Pinto, Amadio.
Funny
story. And then this fourth line's interesting too. Really, it's like Zutterland's actually a pretty good goal scorer. So I think you can't look at this game as, the Battle of Ontario. It's a war. It's this, it's that. You have to look at this game as it doesn't matter if you win 1-0, 6-0, 6-5, 6-7, whatever it is. You just need to find a way to win this game.
It's the first battle of Alberta since, not Battle of Alberta, Battle of Ontario since Game 6 of the playoffs. It's the first matchup of Ottawa, Toronto this season.
Terrible schedule this year.
This season. Like, it's crazy. It's funny. But Ridley Gregg, funny enough, the Ottawa Sens game I went to earlier this year was Ridley Gregg. Oh my God, what
Appreciation
was bobblehead night.
Bobblehead.
And we didn't get there in time. Me, my sister, and her boyfriend, we didn't get there in time to get a bobblehead, but it was the one of his slap shot against the Leafs. I thought it was hilarious. I laughed when they announced it in the summer because I thought it had to be. I saw a lot of Leaf fans like not happy about it, but I was like, this is hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny.
I'm like, the fact that they continue to like, this is something that they continue to talk about. It's just really funny to me. I look back at it and I'm just like, this is an hilarious moment. It's funny when I shouldn't maybe laugh when Morgan Riley cross-checks him in the head.
Oh, I loved when he did it.
I do. And like, I just find the whole situation funny. But like, Ottawa Senators are such an interesting team because like, you look at Shane Pinto, third line center, started hot.
Mm-hmm.
And predictably, as I assumed would happen, Shane Pinto wouldn't continue to perform the way he started the season because, like, I don't think he's shown the consistency so far in his career to continue to perform at the way he was performing, especially since there was injuries to start the year for Ottawa. So he was not going to get the same amount of game time as he was to start the season. That top line's really good. Brady Tkachuk's been playing well since he came back, but I think it would be
can't stand
interesting to see. Well, I don't think anybody outside of Ottawa can stand the guy.
I know people in Ottawa like him. I'm just going to be honest with you.
That's what I said. Outside of Ottawa, I don't.
No, but I think people in Ottawa. I actually think this will be Brady Tkachuk's last season as an Ottawa Senator. I think the Senators.
Ottawa's not going to trade him
year. I think they will. But Dan, I'm curious here. I mentioned, Dan, that I said I don't care about this game being a war. I just want to win. And you always say the Battle of Ontario has to be a war. So what's your thoughts on that take?
No, I didn't say it has to be a war. I just say it always turns out to be a bloodbath, right? I think at this point, we said coming after LA Olympics, there were, possible 12 points.
14, I think. Oh, no, 12 it was.
Right? And you had to get I said you need a minimum 8 points out of the 12, which means 4 wins. So you only got 4 games left till deadline. So you have to win, in my opinion, all 4 games. And even if you do that, it's only 8 points, and you still have Florida and Ottawa right there with you in the basement. So, and then you still got to try to get past teams like Boston, which I think is pretty well impossible. I think at this point, it's pretty well impossible. You have to sell. But I think if they lose this game tonight, it's 100% impossible they have to sell. That's just my opinion of it, And I think, I think it'll be a very tight defensive close game at first. I think it'll just become a bloodbath if it becomes scoring alleyway one way or another because you got guys like Brady Tkachuk in the lineup, Quigley in the lineup, and Max Domi in the lineup, and Sam Benoit in the line. I thought Benoit played really good last game. He was trying to get a spark and get things going against Florida, right?
I always find it funny because I remember earlier this year when I think it was after Brady Tkachuk came back, but he hurt himself, like his hand or something. And like he was like, I'm retiring from fighting. And I'm like, okay, so you're gonna retire from fighting, but I do wonder, is he gonna retire from taking cheap shots and skating away like a little baby? Like he's done it. He's stepped up. To be fair, I won't ever say he never stepped up to fight people before, but he has done it multiple times where he has hit somebody, not really dirty, but really late. And then when he's going to get challenged, he skates away and he doesn't do anything. He doesn't step up. He doesn't fight when he's being asked to fight. He only fights when he is allowed to jump people and he fights them from behind. That's something that he's done before. But I do wonder, is that something, will he continue to do that even if his teammates get hit? Like, even if he's out there on the ice and his teammates get hit hard, is he not going to step up and try and fight somebody? Is that I just find it interesting that his whole play style is a physical player. And he said he's never going to fight again. And I just find it an interesting way of going about things, given the division he's in. This division is not exactly one I don't think you could skate away from fighting people at this point.
No, I just think though, and it's interesting. I want to come back here to a comment from Wilder, and you know what, Wilder, I you and I don't always agree, which is fine. That's the beautiful country we live in. We're allowed to disagree. Dan, no snarky comment. And I look at the Leafs, and of late, I feel like they're playing very half-assed, and they're just not in it. Whether that's a coaching thing, it's a leadership thing, I don't know what it is. Or I think maybe when management sent out a message to the season ticket holders basically saying we're cooked, I think the players just stopped caring. And I don't like maybe stop caring is the wrong word, but I think they gave up on this season specifically. And I mean, we'll see how it is tonight. Maybe Wilder, the Leafs don't mail it in, but right now, Canada Post has been really busy, and that's the way the Leafs are playing. Bad management doesn't tear it down at this point, but not much will change. I mean, the bad management is another huge problem. We've said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't think Tree Living or Berube has their job at the end of this season. I actually would have fired Berube. I mean, I would have fired Tree Living, especially like before the deadline. Good, I would have brought in over the Olympic break. I would have fired Tree Living and found a new GM.
Interesting. I like that. Yeah.
Because right now you have a guy in charge who, as Lane's pointed out, hasn't made a trade in almost a year.
Right.
And even now, like, okay, apparently someone offered us a first-round pick and a prospect for OEL. Why didn't we pull the trigger?
Why did he?
Edmonton offered Mangiapane and a draft pick for Marcelli. Why didn't we pull the trigger? Marcelli's not coming back.
It's Mangiapane. I think it was Mangiapane they didn't want.
Yeah, but Mangiapane still has a year on his deal, and maybe he'll work.
He hasn't. I could understand.
You can't just
said
do
the Leafs
nothing.
should go out and get. But Jacob,
I call him day one that Marcelli will be useless. Yeah.
I personally have said the Leafs should go and get Mangiapane. But Jacob, I said it earlier. I said it a couple months ago that I thought the Leafs should go and get Mangiapane because I thought he could play better on this team that he's played in Edmonton. So now he played more minutes. But I could understand, given the way they've played, the way Mangiapane's played, I could understand not bringing him in and not wanting to take the risk of bringing him in at this point. They probably should have taken that trade because they wouldn't get a first-round pick from anybody else. But Edmonton's shitty management. But like, I guess I could understand wanting to take Mangiapane, but
I don't know. I just think at this point you gotta do anything new. And speaking of new, I believe this is a new viewer. So welcome DVR8 in the house, or should I say, hello?
Yeah. Wilder has been a great fan of us for a long time, so thanks for coming back.
Absolutely. And Marcelli is like me. Oilers need to trade 2 ex-players in Manny to get 1 player in return. No point in trading him. That's interesting.
That's a good point.
I mean, personally, I think Edmonton, the thing that they need the most, and I know you guys are going to roll your eyes because I've said this quite a few times about a lot of teams.
Don't say Bennington.
They need goaltending, and Binghamton, I think, is the best goalie on the market.
Well, no. So the issue with Edmonton
you cannot tell me you think Edmonton's going to win a cup with Tristan Jarry and Connor Ingram.
No
Jacob,
way.
you didn't let me
I
say
do like Connor Ingram.
If you don't let me say something, I can't give you.
I can do what I want. I'm the pilot of my own life. I learned that from the sweet life of Zach and Cody when I was like 10.
Okay, can I get to my point now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that I don't think the Oilers, because I think the Oilers should just not address goaltending at this point. There's no point in going out and trying to do another trade at this point.
Oilers lost today.
To continue to try and like fix their goaltending with like shitty additions and just mix mash goaltenders at this point. They just gotta go because they're not making the cup final anyways. So it doesn't really make a difference what they add at this point. They're not going to win the cup. And because there's more issues with the Oilers than goaltending. Goaltending is not going to push them over the edge at this point anymore. They should have addressed goaltending. I said they should have addressed goaltending 2 years ago. They should have adjusted it when they had a better team. This team is worse than the addition that they had 2 years ago when they made the final. The big issue is worse than last year.
And
they've failed to address it earlier, so there's no point in doing it now. They have too many issues now.
Well, but the
They have too
issue
many
is in
issues outside of
Edmonton, though,
goaltending.
they thought they addressed the goaltending issue, which, by the way, Edmonton lost 5-4 today. Connor Ingram allowing 5 goals on 33 shots, including one where he just left his net for no reason. Although he made some big saves when it was 3-0 to keep Edmonton in it. But I think the big issue is they traded Stuart Skinner, a mediocre goalie, for Tristan Jarry, a mediocre goalie, and gave up Kulak in the process. And I do agree with you, Adam, in a sense that I think Edmonton is worse than they are now, but than they were last year, even 2 years ago. But because McDavid stayed on a hometown discount, you have to push for a cup every year.
No, but
just look at it. There's no way in hell that this team, I don't care if you put the best I don't care if you put Team Canada's defense in front of this goaltending tandem. It's not going to get anywhere because this goaltending tandem is 2 AHL goalies.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but Jacob,
never mind that. You also have Calvin Pickard, who's a third AHL goalie. Toronto Marlies probably have better goaltending than the Edmonton Oilers.
Jacob, the issue is that even if the Oilers get, let's say the Oilers get Binnington, it doesn't fix anything.
I think
but Jacob, listen to what I'm saying. The Edmonton Oilers have not fixed anything. They lost Corey Perry. What did they pick up? They picked up Mangiapane, and they barely play the guy. They overpaid for a guy who hadn't scored in 22 games, whatever it was, 28 games. Did pick up a point for 28 straight games, and they overpaid him because he played well for Boston with David Pastrnak, Trent Frederick. It was a waste of money. He scored for the first time in 28 games. It's ridiculous. But they have more issues than goaltending. Getting Jordan Binnington,
yeah, I can see that happening.
Does solve
issue,
but doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't fix.
But am I saying make one trade? That's not what I'm saying either. Though.
Hey, let me continue, Jacob. Getting Jordan Binnington tapes over their issues. It continues to tape over the same issues that they've had for 2 years now, and they continue to fail. Even if they make, I don't care how many trades they make, it's going to continue to put tape over issues that have been an issue for 2 straight years now, and they continue to fail.
Yeah, so true. It's coming.
And it's ridiculous. It's also, I think personally, it's also a little bit of coaching. That is kind of also an issue because the only reason their coach has their job, the only reason he has it is because he coached McDavid in juniors. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
McDavid asked personally for Knobloch to get.
But
hired.
These comments
I can
here
guarantee that.
From DVR8R. It's interesting here too. There's 2 comments I want to reference. I do agree with this. Woe and Beast at least future. Stolars is the goalie I think in Toronto that should be on the way out. I agree with you. And when they made this trade, I remember, if you remember, guys, I said the exact same thing. I don't know if this trade will age well because at the end of the day, Stuart Skinner has got you to the Stanley Cup Finals twice.
Yeah, exactly.
And Tristan has 0 playoff success. I mean, Edmonton is probably Canada's best shot probably Montreal is actually Canada's best shot.
Montreal, they got a really good team. I think they're going to be a big buyer.
Hello from Pennsylvania.
Hello.
Yes, here's someone who, if you were here for our Olympic post-game show, would have been happy about the outcome, potentially.
That's right, yeah.
Because Team USA with that big victory. I guess that's why you want to see Kachuk and Matthews. Yeah. This comment here, I totally agree. Mike Smith or maybe Cam Talbot. I can't remember who was later at Edmonton, but Mike Smith. I loved Mike Smith.
Smith was.
Me too. Yeah,
and Smith that really is the best goalie the Edmonton Oilers have had in a very long time. Which even Mike Smith then was more towards the end of his career than the beginning. So, and the Darnell Nurse contract
should have been traded here.
You can't trade Nurse is another one though. He's got that no move. He doesn't want to leave. And 2, to trade Nurse, you'd have to basically throw in a first-round pick to get someone to take him because of his salary.
You could buy him out. They should have bought him out in the offseason.
Well, they can't do that now.
That's another failure on Oilers management. They should have bought him out. I don't care how much money you have to pay him over how many other years you have to pay him. You got to get rid of that contract. It is horrendous.
And Wilder, to your comment here, my only thing about comparing Edmonton to Toronto is, and I hate saying this as a Leaf fan, Edmonton has actually gotten very close. Like, say what you
Edmonton?
want about them, but they are getting to the Stanley Cup Finals. The Leafs are barely even getting out of the Tim Hortons lineup at the ACC to go play the game. Like,
wow.
Just wait a couple years and the Oilers are going to be.
We're not sponsored by Tim Hortons, but we could be. Jacob's drinking a
I
Timmy's right
said this
now.
before.
Well, yeah, because I
Oilers
got
could
my
be in a really
7
bad
guesses
situation
in a
couple
row,
years.
so I'm drinking my
that's
very
right.
large coffee.
That's why, yeah.
The only team who has the only teams that have like we've only seen like 2 or 3 teams have the real like balls to offload their big player, their star players, and that's Florida because they did it with Huberdeau. They did the big trade Huberdeau coming off on a 100+ point season, the first of his
like
career.
111 or something.
Vegas does it consistently. Yeah. Vegas are just ruthless though. Those 2 teams, recent memory, they just offload anybody they wanted to because they can and because their management really wants to win and they just don't care how they win at the end of the day. The Leafs situation is different because the Leafs management over the years is incompetent and it made tons of mistakes over the last 9 years. That honestly, I can't really fault any of the players for the contracts they got because Leafs management just kind of gave it to them.
At the end of the day, they gave them the contracts.
But you don't offer. But like if Austin Matthews comes up to you and he's like coming off his rookie deal and asks for $11 million,
you don't just say okay.
You go from his $900,000 rookie contract to an $11 million contract. No sane person should be like, okay, here you go. Here's $11 million.
However,
that's a huge contract.
It is, but
that's just incompetent.
What I've been interested to see is Kyle Dubas without Brandon Shanahan. That's been the interesting thing in Pittsburgh. Dubas has found a way to retool Pittsburgh while acquiring a bunch of draft picks.
Yeah.
And you got to say, if Crosby didn't get hurt in the Olympics, I think Pittsburgh would be buyers at the deadline. Now I'm not so
I think
sure.
so.
But I still think they should be buyers.
I think we should be too, because it's not like Crosby's out for the whole year. He's only out for, it's a week ago they said 4 weeks. So he still has 3 weeks still. Get injured. I think it's still buy.
But that could be up to the game he got originally hurt in, though. So the 4 weeks would be probably the start of when he got hurt, which was like a week ago now. So it's like 2 weeks.
We are planning on doing a post-game show, by the way, to answer this comment here, which I keep wanting to call you Charlie Kirk. I don't believe you're Charlie Kirk.
No, it's Leafman 222, I believe.
Right, it's Leafman 222. That's why he had the 222 at the end. Yeah, we will be back for a post-game show. I have said this multiple times, Wilder. I think trading Nazem Kadri was one of the worst decisions.
I could understand why they made the trade. That's the only.
I understood it, but I never agreed with it.
I never understood it.
Saying. Like,
look at Alexander Kerfoot. He's very NHL player now.
Okay, wait, Dan. So do you remember what Kadri did the last 2 playoff runs?
I don't care.
Okay, no, Dan. But do you remember what he did?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, so would you agree with me? So let's go here. Let's go simply through this. Would you agree that Nazem Kadri costed the Leafs those 2 series by getting suspended when he did get suspended? Would you agree to that?
No.
You don't think Nazem Kadri getting suspended and missing 2, basically their whole series against Boston, costed the Leafs the series? You don't think Nazem Kadri?
He was a third-line center.
Do you think Nazem Kadri being healthy, the Leafs could have won those series?
I think it could have been a factor for
sure.
So,
yeah. So he did in some part. I'm not saying he fully costed them the series, but in some part, Nazem Kadri did participate in the Leafs losing that because he wasn't there.
That's why.
No, it's a big part because he got suspended.
Yeah, exactly. What does Bennett do
series we could have won.
Yeah,
but Bennett doesn't get suspended for it.
Because he's on Florida. If he was on the Leafs,
that's the issue. Bennett doesn't get suspended for it. Kadri did twice. Bennett has not costed Florida 1 playoff series. He has not costed them a playoff series.
It's reliving an interesting point here about Connor Dewar. Funny enough, this is actually a fact. He's at a higher scoring rate right now than Nick Roberts.
I know. That's a crazy. I didn't see that coming.
The thing is, Adam, I will say to counter you on the Nazem Kadri situation, Darren. I mean, like I said, I understood why they did the trade, but I didn't agree with it. The only thing I will say to that is if a third line center is the reason why you're losing a playoff series, then you have a problem with your top 6. And you had Matthews and Tavares at that. Hear me out. You had Matthews and Tavares at that point. Yeah, having Nazem Kadri certainly would have made them better, but they also had Tyler Bozak. There's no reason why Tyler Bozak couldn't slide into a third line center role. And yes, Kadri getting suspended hurt the team. Do I feel that's the main reason why they lost the series? No, I think they lost those series because Boston was playoff ready. Toronto wasn't. But
did I said he was part of the reason? You misunderstood what I said.
I'm giving
Nazem
you my
Kadri,
reasoning because that's how I
roll.
But
I never said it was the main reason he lost. I said he was a part of the reason they lost. There was a ton of different reasons.
There was a lot of reasons.
Those two series. There's a lot of reasons.
But Nazem Kadri not being available for most of the games. Much. I feel Leaf Nation grabs at straws too much on why we lose, and they don't want to blame the guys making the big bucks, or they blame the guys making the big bucks no matter what. Austin Matthews could cure cancer, and half of Leaf Nation still wouldn't like him. And that's just
but Nazem Kadri being there would have helped for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, Colorado hasn't got over the hump again since they let Nazem Kadri walk, right? Like, he is one of those guys when he can be on that line and not cross it. He is a humongous difference maker. I think we will be releasing our trade bait list very soon, and he's going to be towards the top of that list, 100%. But before we go, because the Leaf game has started, projections. Is the Leafs going to keep their season hopes alive? No scores, just yes or no. Will they win tonight? Dan, yes or no?
Yes.
Dan thinks the Leafs season is still a slim hopes. Adam, do you think the Leafs will win tonight and keep their slim hopes alive?
I have no idea they'll win tonight. I don't.
I said yes or no.
I don't know because both of these teams are so bad. But Ottawa.
That's not an answer.
No, because Ottawa always beats us, so no.
And I am also saying no. Dan is the optimist one out of the group. That's a shocker because I think this Leaf team has given up, and I don't think putting Easton Cowan on the third line and putting Nick Robertson down to the fourth, even though he's one of the only guys that shoots the damn puck, is going to do anything. I expect 4-0 deadline. That's a Leafy. Yeah, that is. Like, you watch that. The Leafs win the next 4, bye, and then they completely fall apart. That is the most Leafy thing to do. I got to agree with you there. And on that bombshell, it is time that we end this episode. We will be back for a post game. Who will be back? Who knows? I know I will be.
I'll be back.
And I hope you guys in the comments will be too. I might pour coffee on Dan's weenus to make him come to the show. I said weenus, don't worry. But thank you very much, everyone. I can't do it on Adam's weenus. He's too far away. But thank you very much, everyone, for joining us at the Analyst Desk, where every day feels like game day. I'm the self-proclaimed sports analyst. You're welcome. You are welcome. But thank you very much for joining us here. I'm Jacob Moore, the sports analyst, joined by the man, I will admit it now, only has one name. For now, it's Adam the GOAT. And of course, the man with many hats who wants to see Nylander wearing nothing except a hat, Mr.
That's
Moore.
right.
Until next time, thank you for joining us at the Analyst Desk, where every day feels like game day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.